Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillahi ala ni'mat al-Islami wa kafa biha ni'ma. All praise and gratitude be to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on His blessing of Islam, which suffices as a blessing. So welcome back. We are at the 17th para. We'll begin with Surah Anbiyaa inshallah today and complete Surah Anbiyaa. Surah Anbiyaa has lots of stories of the messengers or the prophets of the past. So 16 messengers are mentioned over here. And we'll also be looking at a very detailed account of Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam. Now the period of revelation of Surah Anbiyaa is Makkan, so it's in line with the other surahs that we have read up till now at about the same time before the migration of our Prophet ﷺ from Makkah to Medina. And one of the things that you will see over here is it highlights the importance of zikr, and then it ends up with a kind of a warning that if you don't listen, then wait. And so it's a very strong warning that comes over here. It's like giving a notice or a forewarning being given to people. So let's just begin with the first ayah of Surah Anbiyaa. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. In the name of Allah, the most beneficent, the most merciful. Iqtaraba lin-nasi hisabahum wa hum fi ghaflatin mu'ridun. The reckoning of people has drawn near to them, yet in heedlessness that they turn away. So Quran is actually just making this point over here that if people are really concerned about their own accountability, they're going to do something about it. They will just not sit around discussing about it. It's like you're sitting in an examination hall, you spend time answering questions. You're not really focused on how comfortable you are, how the environment is, how the fan is running. These are things that are not in your focus. What you're focused on is that you spend your time, the time that's allocated to you, to answering the question in the best way. Because why? Because Quran says over here, time is running out. You must try and understand within this time, understand the real purpose of life. Now, what prevents people, what prevents this reality of reckoning to set in, that there is going to be an accountability, as Quran says, reckoning of people has drawn near, yet they are heedless. What is it, that is not sinking in? Why are people so heedless? This is the question Quran is raising over here and the reason clearly is because people are just too involved, too invested in this world. They are actually just spending all their time making this world so comfortable for them. Yes, the world is attractive, and they think that this is permanent. They really forget the reality that this reckoning may be just around the corner for us. People assume that they have plenty of time where they don't really know whether that is true or not. Whenever there comes to them a fresh reminder from their Lord, but they listen to it with playful amusement, their hearts are preoccupied and they confer in secret, "He is nothing but a mortal like you. Will you yield to a spellbinding while you see?" So priorities of people have really reversed. Reckoning, accountability, hisab, kitab, this seems like fiction. And this very fleeting life, we all know that it's a fleeting life. We all know it's a very insignificant life. We all know that the pleasures of this life are very transitory. But the fact is, they seem so important for us. Today, the insignificant things are so important for people. Look at people, they spend how much amount of time they spend indulging in things like, look at even sports. People are willing to kill each other for sports. Although it has no impact even on their worldly life, whether Manchester United wins or Leeds win, just the fans of opposite side, they'll go fight with each other. People are so involved as if the hereafter depends upon the result of the game. Often you see people leaving prayers. When the matches are going on, they don't actually say their prayers on time or they don't watch it at all. Look at the movies, the stars who are the heroes, the reverence and love that people have for the role model. People wouldn't know Quran, but they would probably know who won the Oscar in Hollywood. They would know all about Tom Cruise. They would not know about the prophets of Islam, but they will know about Tom Cruise. And this is the measure of ignorance. This is the measure of ignorance of the world today. If someone says, "I don't know Amitabh Bachchan," they say, "Oh, how ignorant this person is." Now, please remember that these images that we see of all these stars, these are just creation of media. We think their life are full of fun and happiness and comfort and frolic and success, etc. But behind the curtain, you see all the broken homes, you see the addictions, you see the loneliness. Anyway, the point over here is, don't forget your hisab. Don't be over-involved in this world. There is an accountability, there is a reckoning which is just around the corner. He said, my Lord, all that is spoken in the heavens and the earth, He is all aware and all knowing. Actually, they said, a mixture of jumbled dreams, rather He has fabricated it. Rather, He is a poet. So let Him bring a sign to us as the earlier ones were sent with. So all the objections over here is let Him bring another sign. This objection of this useless, senseless talk is that the prophets must actually do something strange. They're looking for some kind of a circus or a tamasha. The practical guidance that is being given by this religion and by the prophet is so boring for people. People want sensation. They want high drama in everything. Not a single town from those whom we destroyed came to believe before them, so will they believe? This is a question being asked over here. Previous generations, they saw these miracles that people are now demanding, but that didn't bring any humility inside them. That didn't change their behavior. It was just like another khel tamasha. They saw the miracles, another friction thriller, and that's it. It's like we see fireworks. We see, wow, what great fireworks. It doesn't change our attitude. It doesn't change our behavior. Now, the purpose that these prophets were given miracle was not to amaze people, but to appeal to the intelligence, to our minds, so that we can work in a constructive way to save ourselves. People who do not want to do amal, despite the miracle, despite seeing manifest miracle, they will not change. The result would be lost. And thus did we send before you messengers except men whom we inspired with revelation. So ask the followers of the reminder, if you do not know. All those who were sent, as messengers, they were human beings, people like us. Even people of book will confirm, which means the Christians and Jews will confirm this. And the arrival of a new messenger, which is our Prophet ﷺ, is certainly not a strange phenomena. Neither did we endure them with bodies that ate no food, nor were they immortals. So messengers have needs like all of us. They were people like us. They had needs, they ate food, they were not immortal. And this should really elevate them. This is nothing degrading. It should elevate all these messengers because it makes us even more important to follow them since they were like us. If they could do it, so we should be able to do it. Then we caused the promise to come true for them, so we saved them and those whom we willed and destroyed the transgressors. So this is a promise. What is the wa'da of Allah? What is the promise of Allah which became true? That there is no nijat for those people who do not follow the message. Nothing would save them. لَقَدْ أَنزَلْنَا إِلَيْكُمْ كِتَابًا فِيهِ ذِكْرُكُمْ أَفَلَا تَعْقِلُونَ. Surely we have sent down to you that in which there is your mention, there is your zikr in it. So will you not understand? Will you then not understand? This is our zikr. This is a reminder for us. We are mentioned in this book. Normally if you tell a person you are being discussed or something is written about you in this newspaper or in this article or on Facebook, he will be curious. He will want to know. He will be interested to know what is being discussed about me. The issue is that people don't think that Quran is our zikr, that there is a zikr of us in this Quran. Hence, we stand at a very safe distance when we are reading the Quran. We are not kind of involved with it. We are not really interacting with it in a kind of an emotional way that we want to understand what this book is telling us. Quran is like a stranger to many people. When Quran tells us, Ya ayyuhallazina amanu, O you who believe, we tend to look over our shoulder. Who's Quran calling? Must be somebody behind us, right? We don't think it's this Ya ayyuhallazina amanu is addressed to us. So who do you think is being addressed? We don't realize that we are being addressed. We are the subject of Quran. We need to bring it to Quran at our personal level. I am being addressed. My personal life is being discussed over here. And don't let this call be lost in kind of a generalization that we just hear and we read without our personal involvement with this book. When we read with personal involvement, we will find how interesting this message is. The routine problem that you and I face, the issues that we are subjected to, the uncertainties that are there in this life, the fears, the anxiety, the encounters of every day, Quran actually tells us how do we respond to them. What are the things that benefits us? What is it that is harmful for us? What is history teaching us a lesson? What are women issue and how Quran tackles that? An alim, a layman, people like us, everyone, we will find solution according to our mental level. How many towns that were unjust have we crushed and raised up after them another people. Now, see how advanced the world is today and look what Corona is doing to it. No matter how advanced civilization may become, no matter how much worldly success that there is there, that cannot save it from Allah's anger. He has given us time, He has given us respite, He wants us to amend our lifestyle. But the fact is, more often you find people whom Allah gives time, who gives Allah another mohlat, more often than not you will find that they will really not learn the lesson and correct themselves. So as soon as they sensed our punishment, they started fleeing from it. It was said to them, do not flee and go back to your luxuries you were made to enjoy and to your dwellings that you may be interrogated. Now this is talking about the great chaos and the panic when the azab of Allah arrives on nations. When nations become different from Allah, then their self-importance increases. They think that we are progressive people, and as progressive people, we have no time for God. We have no time for Allah. The question is, what made you challenge Allah? Who do you think is going to protect you when the azab arrives? They said, alas for us, we were definitely unjust. And their cry did not cease till we turned them into stubble as ash, silent and quenched. Imagine something very beautiful being destroyed by fire, a great painting, and it becomes just like ash and it is silenced and completely quenched. That's how mankind would be after the azab. And we did not create the heavens and the earth and what lies between them for a play. Had we intended to have a pastime, we would have had it from our own if we were ever to do so. So Allah is not playing a game with us over here. This is against the shan of Allah. This is against the wisdom of Allah to subject people to difficulties and watch a game. This is against His justice. Instead, we hurled the truth against falsehood and it knocked out its brain, and in no time it was gone. Woe be to you for the false things that you ascribe. Now truth will ultimately succeed. Haqq will always be successful because it has backing of truth, it has backing of conviction, it has backing of Allah's help. While falsehood is illogical and it is unsound and it will be gone. We saw an example of Musa alayhi salam. Ultimately he won against the magicians, he won against the empire of Pharaoh, he won against the Egyptian empire. Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam was successful against Namrud. Now if shirk and if false ideology is prospering in the world today, the reason is not because truth has disappeared, but the reason is that people who speak the truth, they are weak and they are missing. Remember, weapons never win war. It is people with faith and conviction. And to Him belongs all that is in the heavens and the earth. And those who are near to Him are not arrogant against His worship, nor do they ever go weary. They proclaim His purity night and day, never slackening. Now these good deeds are done by those people who consider themselves to be the servants of Allah, to be the slaves of Allah. And after they have accomplished a great deal, they never have pride, they never have takabbur, they never get tired. Remember, hard work never kills people. It's not hard work that kills people, it's the anxiety. It's anxiety that kills people. It's the anxiety which brings in the stress. Or have they adopted gods from the earth who raises the dead? Had there been gods besides Allah in the heavens and in the earth, both of them would have fallen in disorder. So pure is Allah, the throne of the Lord, from what they describe. He cannot be questioned about what He does, and they will be questioned. Allah will take hisab of people and not vice versa. You know, often sometimes you hear people come to you and say, "Hum Allah se puchenge." There's no chance of that. There's no way we can ask Allah anything. He will take our hisab. We cannot take counter hisab of Him. Is it that they have adopted gods besides Him? Say, bring your proof. This is a mention of those with me and mention of those before me. Yet most of them do not know the truth, and therefore they are averse. No one can accept the prayers. Make life, create matter, take life away, destroy the creation. No one can do that. There is no proof, no authenticity of shirk at all. Yet majority of mankind indulges in shirk. Majority of people indulge in shirk. We did not send before you any messenger, but we revealed to him that there is no God but I, so worship me. They said, the Rahman has taken himself a son, pure is he. They are but honored slaves. So this is a negation of the Christian dogma. They do not precede him in speech and only act by his command. So see how powerless everyone is? Everyone, all creation is powerless, incapable, ineffective. This is how everyone is. Only power is with Allah. He knows what is in front of them and what is behind them. And they offer no intercession except for whom He approves. And in awe of Him they tremble. Should any one of them say, I am God besides Him, we will reward him with hell. This is how we reward the transgressors. أَوَلَمْ يَرَ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا أَنَّ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضَ كَانَتَا رَتْقًا فَفَتَقْنَاهُمَا وَجَعَلْنَا مِنَ الْمَاءِ كُلَّ شَيْءٍ حَيٍّ أَفَلَا يُؤْمِنُونَ. Did the disbelievers not observe that the heavens and the earth were joined together? Then we opened them and we made water a source of life for everything. Will they not believe? Amazing ayat. I mean, in our times, this ayat can be read and interpreted. The word that is used over here, ratqan, rataq, it literally means together. Quran says that over here that the heavens and earth were joined together. Rataq, they were joined together. فَفَتَقْنَاهُمَا. And then we separated them. Fataq means to tear apart, to split. Now, in the 21st century, when we read this ayat, we interpret it in the present day scientific research and find nothing conflicting and inconsistent in this ayat. What was discovered now in science was in the last century was explained more than 1400 years ago in this ayah. Today, when we read these ayahs, our attention immediately shifts to the Big Bang, that there was one point, and that point actually was joined together, and then something teared it apart, it split it apart. The Big Bang happened. And Muslims need to actually look at these ayahs and think about them and, keep these scientific discoveries so that the azmat of Quran also becomes clear. Azmat of Allah also becomes clear. And this ayat also goes in to say, and we made water a source of life for every living thing. Water, vital resource for sustaining and maintaining life. It says water is something that is there, necessary for maintaining life. It's like car is made from metal, but you need fuel to run the car. Machine is made from metal, but electricity runs the machine. Man is made from clay, but he needs water to stay alive. Many viruses and bacteria that we know in our present day science, they are alive, but in absence of water, they cannot move, they cannot reproduce. And as soon as they receive water, the DNA molecule takes the hydrogen ion from the water and the vital functions begin. And in the end, the Quran says, and will they still not believe? Will they still not believe? This is the amazement the Quran says over here. These facts were not known how important water is for life. It only became clear in the last century. And we have placed on the earth firm mountains lest it would shake with them, and we have made in it paths and ways so that they may find their way. Now the Rabb who guides people in this world makes paths for them so that they may find way, so that they safely reach from one place to the other. Will He not guide people to reach to Him, to reach to paradise? Certainly He has put a path for us, and that is the path that Quran actually states. Then Quran also says that we have placed on the earth firm mountains. So mountains are like pegs so the earth doesn't tremble. The earth, as we know now, as science has told us, is spinning, it's turning, it's rotating, it's revolving. And we are literally standing on a spinning top, yet we never feel the vibration. We never feel dizzy, because Allah has put weights in strategic places to prevent it from wobbling, prevent it from vibrating. And we have made sky a protected canopy, and they are averse to its signs. Now, sky as a protected canopy, look at the moon sometimes. Look at the surface of the moon sometimes, full of craters. And the reason for this is that moon doesn't have a protecting atmosphere like the earth has. So meteoroids are regularly striking on the surface of the moon. But due to the protective layer on the earth, we are safe from these meteoroids. Similarly, harmful radiation from the sun are stopped from entering to this earth. The only beneficial and harmless radiation are allowed to enter in a controlled quantity. Now, someone who has put this protection can also remove this protection. The sky that Allah has put as a protection, He can also remove it. وَهُوَ الَّذِي خَلَقَ اللَّيْلَ وَالنَّهَارَ وَالشَّمْسَ وَالْقَمَرَ كُلٌّ فِي فَلَكٍ يَسْبَحُونَ. And He is the one who has created the earth and the night and the sun and the moon, each floating in an orbit. Look at this ayat. I mean, can you imagine 1400 years ago someone would have said that everything is floating around, it has a path, it's going through that path. So for a long time this ayat couldn't be explained. For a long time. Now when we observe this, even the sun, people thought sun is fixed. Sun is not fixed. Quran says it is the sun and the moon, they are floating in it. The sun is also revolving. The sun is also moving. It's not fixed, it's in motion. It's revolving around the center of the Milky Way. It takes now 250 million years for the sun to complete one revolution around the Milky Way. One revolution takes 250 million. And up till now, since the sun has been created, it has completed 18 revolutions. And we did not assign immortality to any human before you. So if you die, will they live forever? Now Kuffar, when they were very frustrated with our Prophet ﷺ, they would openly curse him and they prayed that he dies. Now this ayat is the reply to that even if the Prophet were to die, so will these people. Kullu nafsin zaiqatul maut, and every soul shall taste death. And we test you through bad and good as a trial, and to us you shall be brought back. So at the end, all of us, we will be tasting death. Quran makes it very clear, kullu nafsin zaiqatul maut, every soul shall taste death. So the taste will be there. For some, this taste will be extremely bitter. For some, it may be slightly unpleasant. And for some, it may be a sweet taste. That death may be really sweet. So death has its hardship. Even our Prophet ﷺ, look at the life of our Prophet and the last few days that he was alive on this world, the difficulty, the hardship that he faced in death. So even our Prophet endured the pains of death. But in the end, this all too shall end. It is just a test, as Ibn Qayyim, I love this saying of Ibn Qayyim. He said, O you who are patient, bear a little more, just a little more remains. When the disbelievers see you, they treat you with ridicule. Is this the one who speaks of your God, while they themselves reject, while talking of the Rahman? Now the worst trait that people can have is that they laugh and ridicule other people, and this is such a painful attitude. Every person is sensitive about two things, about his izzat and about his life. No one wants people to make fun of them and hurt their self-respect. But prophets had to endure this, both insults as well as life threats, just because they did not measure to the norms of the society. They didn't really measure to those norms, and as a result they faced these insults. Only because the prophets did not judge themselves on the standard laid down by the people. As a result, such ridicule did not weaken their resolve. And second, the thing that the prophets all did was that they did sabr. Man is made of haste. Soon I shall show you my signs, so do not seek haste from me. So while man has exceptional qualities, he has some weaknesses also. And Quran, like a good friend, points out, without being really offensive, that we have to be vigilant of our shortcomings. And one of the weaknesses that we all have is haste, jaldbazi. People react quickly. And this is something that we need to control. It is safest for us that we remain calm, that we remain composed, that we do not react. We do not react. We need to have time to think. You know, like the kuffar were also reacting, and they were asking for the azab. Bring the azab now. They say, when will this threat come to if you are true? Only if the disbelievers were to know the time when they will not be able to keep off the fire from their faces or from their back, nor will they be helped. Rather, it will come upon them suddenly and will baffle them. So they will not be able to turn it back, nor will they be given any respite. Now, if people do not change their beliefs, their deeds, their actions, then their anjam will also not change. In fact, the messengers have been mocked before you, so those who laughed at them were besieged by what they used to ridicule. Now, sometimes you do wonder, why were the prophets mocked? Allah chose the best of the people as His messengers, in looks, in personality, intelligence, in temperament, in akhlaq. And the reason why they were mocked is because they were neek people, they were sharif, they had excellent behavior. So people thought we can poke them, they will not react because they are sharif, they are neck people, they will not react. And that's a huge problem with people. People often do izzat of those whom they fear. There's a saying in English, they lick the feet that kick them, and that's what they will do with the messenger. So, who will guard you during the night and the day against the Rahman? Rather, to the remembrance of their Lord, they are averse. None can save us from the azab of Allah. If it was to come, why should we take the risk? Why break the laws of Allah for social acceptability, for financial gains, for a little comfortable life? The real wisdom is to make Allah razi. Think how helpless and vulnerable man is. Without the protection of the Creator, there is no protection. There is no place to hide. There is no place to run. Or do they have gods who protect them besides us? They will not be able to help them, to even help themselves, nor will they have anyone to side with them against us. But we have given benefits to these people and their fathers until life was prolonged for them. So do they not see that we are gradually decreasing the land from its border? Shall they then prevail? This is such an amazing ayat that we are gradually reducing this land. Afala yarawna anna natil arda nanqusuha min atrafeha. That we are gradually decreasing land from its border. So Allah has given plenty of life and blessings to people. The first part of this ayat, that we have given benefits to people and their fathers until their life was prolonged for them. So plenty of life, blessings given to people, but people became distant from their Rabb until they were totally disconnected. There was no mention of Allah in anything that they did. It was only I, it was only we. This resulted in excess and sin. The greater was the respite given to people to correct, the more the burden of sin were they carrying. The other part of this ayat is, and we are gradually decreasing the land. Physical manifestation of this is the mountains are rising, the continents are shrinking, the earth is pressing against, the continents are pressing against each other. And even in our own lives, when we think about this, when we were, how our life is also shrinking. When we were young and our abilities were at peak, we were super efficient, we had, sharp minds, we had agile bodies, our looks were crisp and sharp. We were efficient, we had peak performance, and then we had peak enjoyment. And then as age increases, everything reduces. Try putting on your wedding dress today. I mean, how gorgeous it looked when we were getting married, and you put it on today, you'll probably look a bit like a joker. All our abilities are decreasing. Ultimately, we will be reduced from this house of 6,000 square feet to a grave of 6 feet, and that's an accepted thing. That's bound to happen. So why doesn't man let go of this world? Because before the world lets go of him, before the world rejects us, we need to become mentally distant from it. And this is an act of great wisdom. This is an act of great comfort and peace. And this is only possible in only one case, that man has regard and value for the revelations, that he hears and understands and acts according to the commandments of Allah. Say, I warn you only by revelations, but the deaf will not listen to the call when they are warned. If a whiff of your Lord's torment was to touch them, they would certainly say, woe to us, we were unjust. So if people disregard the revelations and become deserving of azab of Allah, even a slightest touch of azab will shake people out of their complacency. And we shall set up a just balance on the day of judgment, so no one shall be wronged in the least, even if it were to the measure of a mustard seed. We shall bring it forth, and we have enough to take account. Hazrat Anas Raziallahu Anhu, he narrated a hadith of our Prophet ﷺ, and he said, on the day of judgment, the mizan, the just balance, will be set up, the angels will be in charge, every person will be brought to this mizan, his deed will be weighed. If the balance tilts towards the good, the angels will make an announcement. And this announcement will be so loud that the entire mankind will be able to hear that such and such, by name they will say, such and such has been successful, he will never be deprived. That's one. And then if the sins are heavier, another announcement will go that such and such is so wretched, and this is something. So inshallah, this is a mizan on that day. This is the day of judgment when everything will be weighed. And we gave Moses and Harun the criterion and a light and an advice for the God-fearing, those who have awe of their Lord without having seen Him and are fearful of the hour, which means the hour of judgment. Now we are going to begin to look at the lives of many messengers, not in the historical order, not in the chronological order, but we are beginning with Hazrat Musa alayhi salam, and Quran says he was given a criterion, which means the Furqan or the criterion, which is, Furqan literally means farak karne wali, what distinguishes between right and wrong. And then he was also given the nur, the light. And the light is the Furqan is the intention, that the intentions are corrected. And actions should be in the light of the book. And this is a blessed reminder, and we have sent down, and are they still rejecting it? Denying and rejecting what? If the purpose was only sawab and barakat, if the purpose of Quran was only to get sawab and barakat, then where is the denial? Where is the disbelief? It's following. It's putting into our lives. It's putting into the action. That is, whether we accept it or whether we deny it. Even earlier, we had given Ibrahim his right course, and we knew him fully well when he said to his father and his people, "What are these statues you are devoted to?" Now we're going to look at the detailed story of Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam. Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam was born in a country which was surrounded by shirk. His father was the chief idol maker. The king at that time was Namrud, and he called himself the incarnation of God. But Ibrahim alayhi salam had this quality of rushd in him. Allah had given him this huge quality, and it was the manifestation of this rushd that he had was in Tawheed. His mind refused to accept that these deities are God. So he asked, "Why are you giving so much importance to these stone objects? What are these statues that you are devoted to?" That's the question he asked his father and these people. They said, "We found our fathers worshipping them." They didn't say this is our fitrat, that our fitrat is witnessing it. They didn't say this is the way the Allah messengers had taught us. They didn't say this came in a book of Revelation. They said we are following our forefathers, what we saw our forefathers doing. Now today also, when we ask people of some rituals like various niyaz that are there common in our culture and society, and soyams and chelams and barsis and all these things, they don't bring any hadith or Quran to support it. They say this is how we saw being done in our khandan. He said, "Surely you and your fathers have been in open error." My God, what a response. Today, if people say this, we'll say, what a radical statement. How are you so judgmental? Deen is a private matter. How can you make such a statement? Now, the point is, if all of us keep the truth to ourselves, who is going to propagate it? Ibrahim was one man against his entire nation, yet he chose to speak the truth. They said, "Did you come to us with truth, or are you one of those who jest?" So the people responded, "Are you really serious, or are you just trying to draw our attention?" Because majority of people conform to the norms of the society, and they do not question what's going on or what they are believing, what they are worshipping. And when truth comes to them, it actually looks strange to them. They cannot comprehend that this is one man, one man is taking up this confrontation of the entire society. He said, "No, your Lord is the Lord of the heavens and the earth, who created them, and I am of those who bear witness to it." What Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam is telling these people is, how can you call these stone deities as Rabb, which you make from your own hand? These deities, idols that you make from your own hand. Rabb is He who made you. And this is the beginning of rational thinking. Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam is introducing rational thinking inside people. By Allah, that I will devise something against your idols after you have gone away, turning your back. Then he turned all of them into pieces except the big one of them, so that they may come back to it. They said, "Who has done this to our God? He is indeed one of the wrongdoers." Some of them said, "We have heard a youth talking about himself. He is called Ibrahim." So suddenly the attention turned to Ibrahim. People knew that there was this young man with this very radical message. They said, "Then bring him before the eyes of the people so that they may bear witness." They said, "Is it you, Ibrahim, who has done this to our gods?" He said, "Rather, this is done by the chief of theirs." So ask them if they can speak. Now this is like a power of logical argument. ये बड़े साहब का काम है. That's what Hazrat Ibrahim is saying. ये बड़ा साहब है, इसने ये काम किया. Ask the big one. Ask the other ones, the ones who have been destroyed, the reason for their sorrowful tale. Now there is no lie in this response. Don't think Hazrat Ibrahim is lying over here, because he knows that they cannot answer. So he's just saying, fine, yes, they have been destroyed, but ask the one who is still there. He's not been destroyed. He must have seen everything happening. Now then the error of the people became clear to them. No one said you are lying. No one said to Ibrahim alayhi salam, you are lying. They knew that there is an error. So they turned to one another and said, in fact, you yourself are the wrongdoers. Now either they did this individually or in their conscious of work, or maybe they did it collectively, but the light of the truth dawned upon them for a moment. Then they were confounded with shame and replied to Ibrahim, you already know that they do not speak. So people suddenly recognized the truth but refused to accept it, and they rejected guidance. Truth came to them, they accepted it. They knew that this is the truth, but they rejected guidance. And this was the opening that Ibrahim alayhi salam was looking for. He got them where he wanted to get them. He said, did you then worship besides Allah what does not benefit you in the least nor harm you? Shame on you and upon what you worship other than Allah. Do you then not understand? So what Ibrahim alayhi salam is saying over here is, these idols are not capable to defend themselves or tell you what good are they. If they cannot defend and they cannot tell you who has done this, what good are they? Throw away, you're just throwing away money after this useless junk of stone. Now when we apply this ayat on our lives, and apply this on your life actually, go stand on a mazar today. Go stand on a mazar and do this, and ask people over there, why are you putting these flowers on this mazar? Why are you covering this up with the chadar? Why are you praying over here, invoking the deads, asking to help you out? Because they can neither help themselves nor they can harm you. They can neither do anything for you nor they can harm you. What will happen if you do that? What will happen? I bet you will get lynched. They said, burn him and help your gods if you are to take action. We said, oh fire, be cool and safe for Ibrahim. So Allah commanded the fire to be cool to the extent that it is beneficial, not too cold to hurt him. Because when it's too cold, it can also cause frostbite. Now, when people take stand on haqq, this taking stand on haqq is the right of man. Allah will protect. But only with intense love of Allah, people will reach to such heights. And they intended to harm him, but we made them the worst losers, and we rescued him as well as Lut, sent towards the land which we had blessed for all the worlds, and we blessed him with Ishaq and Yaqub as a gift, and each one of them we made righteous. So after trials, the great trials that Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam went through, the reward that was given to him was in form of sons like Ishaq and Yaqub, both messengers. Moral is, compromising with misguidance will never bring any khair, any glory in our lives. And we made them the imams who guided people under our commands. And we revealed to them to do good deeds and to establish salah and pay zakah, and to us alone they worshipped. As for Lut, we gave him wisdom and knowledge, and we delivered him from a town that used to do dirty deeds. Indeed, they were evil people with lewd transgressors. And we admitted him in our mercy. Indeed, he was of the righteous. And remember Nuh, when he called for help earlier. So we responded to him and saved him and his family from the terrible agony, and helped him against the people who rejected our revelations. Indeed, they were evil people, therefore we drowned them all. So Hazrat Nuh alayhi salam preached for 950 years, and then he got tired, and these people were not changing. Very few people had converted to the message, and then he prayed to Allah, and Allah saved him from the transgressing people. And remember Dawood and Suleiman, when they were giving judgment concerning the field in which the goats of other people wandered at night and trampled it, and we were a witness to their judgment. Now the whole story behind this one particular ayah, this is referring to the case when a flock of sheep belonging to a shepherd at night went into the field of another farmer and ate up the crop, and he destroyed the entire crop. Now this case next day was presented to Hazrat Dawood alayhi salam in his court. He was the judge over there, and this person who had this, the shepherd said, well, these sheep are independent, they are not in our control, my control, and there was no kind of a wall which protected the field, so I can't really do anything. But the farmer whose crop was destroyed, he was distressed by the fact, and so Hazrat Dawood alayhi salam decided that the flock of sheep, since it came and destroyed the crop and ate up the crop, should be given to the farmer whose crop had been destroyed. But Allah's decision was different, and that comes in the next ayat. So we enabled Sulaiman to understand it, and to each one of them we gave wisdom and knowledge, and with Dawood we subjugated the mountains and the birds to celebrate our praise, and we were the ones who did it. So Dawood alayhi salam gave a good decision based on justice, but Hazrat Sulaiman alayhi salam, his son, offered another solution, and the solution was, he said, well, only one harvest has been destroyed by the sheep. Only one harvest. So if the farmer becomes the owner of the flock of sheep, he will keep this benefit forever. He will always have the harvest in the next season, and he will always have the sheep. So the farmer, his decision was, this is what he suggested as a Sulaiman. So the farmer can keep the sheep for one season and benefit from the wool and milk, and the land should be given to the shepherd, and he becomes the owner of the flock of sheep, who would cultivate it, and when the crops reach to the level at which they were destroyed, he should return it back to the farmer, and the farmer will hand back the flock of sheep to its owner. Now Dawood alayhi salam accepted this decision. I mean, it's an amazing decision that was there. Hazrat Sulaiman, with his wisdom, he accepted without feeling slighted. His decision was right, but Sulaiman's decision was even better, since it was more just. So sometimes I think the moral over here is, sometimes children can give us excellent advice. We need to seek their views. We need to discuss things with them and take their views on that. We taught him the skills of making armor as dress, that it may protect you in your combat. So are you grateful? So the qualities of Dawood alayhi salam was that he was a very just king. He would do zikr of Allah, he would remember Allah, and then on top of that he was a great inventor. He lived around 1000 BC, and this was the Iron Age. He ruled in the area of Palestine, Jordan and Syria, and he was a king, and he was an imam, and he was an inventor. Now this is what is missing from the Muslim world today. Those who do zikr of Allah, they have no contribution to science and technology, while those who make great contribution to science and technology, who are excellent in science and technology, they have no concept of Allah. And for Sulaiman, we subjugated the violent winds that blew under his command to the land in which we placed our blessings, and we were the ones who knew everything. And from the evil ones who dived in water for him, and the jobs that and did jobs other than that, and we were the ones who kept a watch over them. So when the hukumat, when the leadership is of neck people, even the evil forces, the evil ones, are molded to work for the benefit of people and for the benefit of the community. وَأَيُّوبَ إِذْ نَادَى رَبَّهُ إِنِّي مَسَّنِيَ الضُّرُّ وَأَنْتَ أَرْحَمُ الرَّاحِمِينَ. And remember Ayub, when he called to his Lord, saying, I am afflicted by pain, and you are the most merciful of all the merciful. So the example of the sabr of Hazrat Ayyub alayhi salam being given over here, Hazrat Ayyub alayhi salam was bestowed with huge amount of wealth and a big family. Ultimately, then he became ill, and when he became ill, he lost his wealth, he lost his family, everyone left him except his wife. His entire body is said to have been covered with painful boils. No one wanted to come near him. But he never complained. He continued to do zikr of Allah, he continued to pray to Allah, and he lived in pain, some say 8 years, some say 18 years, and then he prayed this. And this is such a beautiful prayer. We must pray this. We must remember this prayer. Anni massani ad-durru wa anta arhamur rahimin. Whenever we are in difficulty in prayer, Quran is teaching us how to ask Allah. So we answered his prayers and removed whatever pain he had, and we gave back his family and the like of them along with them as a mercy from ourselves. from our own self and as a lesson for the worshippers. So this is a lesson for us that we also need to say this prayer over here. It is said a spring gushed forth near Hazrat Ayyub alayhi salam. He got cured, and it is said that he again became very wealthy and had a big family. And remember, Ismail and Idris and Zulkifl all were among the patient ones. All of them were people of sabr, of patience. What is sabr? That in time of distress, we protect ourselves from hopelessness, from anger, from resentment, from bitterness. But sabr is not inaction, that we sit back and do nothing and twiddle our thumbs. It is that we keep working hard and put trust on Allah in every situation. And we admitted them in our mercy, and surely they were among the righteous. And remember Yunus, when he walked away in anger, thinking that we will not constrict upon him, then he called us in the depths of darkness, saying, "There is no God but you, pure are you, indeed I am among the wrongdoers." Hazrat Yunus alayhi salam, it is said he was sent to the people of Nineveh. People didn't accept the message, and he continued to warn the people of the azab of Allah. And then he said, in 3 days the azab of Allah will descend upon you. And before the instructions of Allah came to him, he left the city, assuming that he has fulfilled his responsibility. In the meantime, the people of Nineveh recognized the arrival of the signs of the azab, and they recognized their mistakes, and they earnestly prayed to Allah for forgiveness, and Allah forgave them, and the azab was removed. Hazrat Yunus alayhi salam, it is said that he left Nineveh, he left by a ship which got caught into a fierce tempest, a fierce storm that was blowing in the sea, and the ship had to be lightened. There were many people in the ship, it had to be lightened, so the lots were drawn, and Hazrat Yunus alayhi salam was the one in charge of drawing the lots. Every time the lot was drawn, his name would come. 3 times it was done. Every time his name would come, so he was thrown overboard, and then a big whale, a big fish gulped him alive, and he stayed in the belly of the fish in complete darkness. And there is where he made this super prayer, which is what you call Ayat Karima also. People read it often. Whenever we are in difficulty, that people read this ayat over here, La ilaha illa anta subhanaka inni kuntu minaz zalimin. There is no God but you, pure are you, indeed I am among the wrongdoers. Whenever there is a sin, a problem, something committed, this is something that you must ask Allah for forgiveness. This is what Allah has taught us. Now Muslims do this ayat karima. Sometimes they get lots of people together, recite it 125,000 times. Where did they get this? Did they think that Hazrat Yunus sat in the belly of the fish reciting it 125,000 times? No basis for this. This is clearly an innovation. Do recite it yourself. You must recite it yourself. Know the meanings and recite this yourself. For if you have a problem, if you have difficulty, La ilaha illa anta subhanaka inni kuntu minaz zalimin, you must recite it yourself. So we responded to him and rescued him from distress, and this is how we rescue the believers. Not only him, but all the believers who ask Allah and recite this prayer, Allah is saying over here, we rescue the believers. And remember Zakaria, when he called his Lord, "My Lord, do not leave me alone," which means childless, and you are the best of the inheritors. We've seen this story in Surah Maryam very recently. Hazrat Zakaria alayhi salam asking for a child. Ask Allah yourself. This is the point that's being driven time and again. When you need something, when you are in distress, in difficulty, in pain, in hunger, in disease, ask Allah yourself. Build this personal relationship with Allah. These du'as that are being taught in this surah over here, Surah Al-Anbiyaa over here, these are du'as for all our personal problems. So we bestowed to him and gave him Yahya and cured his wife for him. They used to race towards the good deeds and call us with hope and fear, and they were humbled to us. And remember her who protected her chastity, which is Maryam. So we blew in her a life through our spirit and made her and her son a sign for all the world. So this is the miraculous birth of Hazrat Isa alayhi salam. Again, we saw this recently in Surah Maryam. And surely this is a fraternity of your faith, a single faith, and I am your Lord, so worship me. But they have separated their ways from one another. All of them have to return to us. So whoever does righteous deeds while he is a believer, his efforts will not be rejected, and we are to put it we are to put it on record. And it is banned for the people of a town that we destroy, that they shall not return. So cities on which azab of Allah descends, the calamities of Allah come in, then those cities can never get really inhabited, never being abad after that. Until when the Yajuj and Majuj, which is Gog and Magog, are released while they run down every height. And the true promise draws near, then it will so happen that the eyes of the disbeliever shall remain upraised, which means upraised in terror, and they will say, woe to us, we are in negligence about this, rather we were transgressors. Surely you and whatever you worship other than Allah are the fuel of hell. There you will have to arrive. Had there been gods, they would not have arrived at it, and all of them will remain there forever. For them there will be screams in it, and they will not hear. And for those for whom the good news from us has come earlier, they will be kept far away from it. They will not hear the slightest of the sound, and they will remain they will remain forever in it, what their souls desires. They shall not be grieved by the biggest panic, and the angels shall receive them, saying, this is your day that you have been promised. So may Allah include all of us in this category of people to whom the angels say that this is your day that has been promised. The day when we roll up the sky like the rolling up of the written scrolls. Just as we originated the first creation, we shall repeat it, a promise from us, and we are sure to do it. And we have written in the Zabur, which means the Psalm, the book given to Hazrat Dawood alayhi salam, after the advice that the land will be inherited by my righteous slaves. Surely in this Quran, which means surely in this, there is a message conveyed to a people who worship. And we have not sent you but a mercy for all the worlds. Say, what is revealed to me is simply that your God is one God. So do you submit? But if they turn away, then say to them, I have warned you all alike, and I do not know whether what you have been warned of is near or far. Surely He knows what is spoken openly, and He knows what you conceal. And I do not know. Perhaps it's a trial for you and an enjoyment for a while. So the last ayat of this session. قَالَ رَبِّ احْكُمُ الْحَقِّ وَرَبُّنَا الرَّحْمَنُ الْمُسْتَعَانُ عَلَى مَا تَصِفُونَ. He, which means messenger, said, my Lord, judge with truth, and our Lord is the Rahman, the one whose help is sought against what you ascribe. So the last ayat over here is a prayer of our Prophet ﷺ, that asking Allah to judge with truth, with haqq, and that He is the Lord, He is the Rahman whose help everyone is sought, and that there is no one that we can ascribe. So with this we will end up Surah Anbiyaa, and we will inshallah begin the next session with the next surah next time we meet. So barakallahu lana wa lakum fil Quranil Azim wa nafana wa iyyakum bil ayati wa zikril hakim.